Midlife ladies with perimenopausal sleep disturbances and issues. How are you preparing for sleep? Preparation is everything. Without a plan, we're kind of walking in the dark and, just hoping for the best. And hope is not a good strategy, and it just isn't. So I want to talk today about a number of things. There's been some discussions in some perimenopausal groups about sleep disturbances, and there's some key things that I can share with you today that should help. Sleep disturbances in perimenopause, it only adds to the brain fog that's already occurring because of the fluctuation and overall drop in estrogen. I don't want to focus too much on the physicality of the brain fog piece because we're talking more about sleep. But I'll just quickly mention that with the brain fog, one of the things that is occurring is, again, as estrogen is doing its roller coaster ride, but overarchingly on the decline, our brain has operated with all of these estrogen receptors in the brain, and when estrogen is drying up, those receptors are kind of freaking out. It's like, where's my estrogen? So the brain can adapt. The brain is a very plastic, or has high plasticity, is adaptable. It can change, restructure itself very easily. But it takes time. It's not something that is just going to happen, quickly and overnight. So we just have to give ourselves some patience there. And I see people, or I hear people talk about, well, this is never going to go away. Nothing's going to change. Our body is supposed to have estrogen. Let's just shift for 1 second. I don't want to talk too much about the men, but the men have estrogen. They don't have it nearly in the same levels that we carry it in our body, and yet their brains function without brain fog. So for us to look at ourselves and say to ourselves, without estrogen, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to function fully without some of this brain fog. Well, at that point, then you're just telling your cells what to think, and your cells will follow that instruction set. This is why beliefs are so very important and powerful. So what you believe, in effect, happens. So again, just, stick that in your back pocket and remember, we're not doomed because estrogen is declining overall in our bodies. We just need to give ourselves just give it a minute and let our body adapt. However, with the brain fog, the sleep disruptions certainly add to that. We can all remember, times in our life. I think everybody's had these moments in our lives where sleep has been an issue. Raising a young child, maybe it is heavy duty schooling. There's a number of different situations that may put you into a spot where you are sleep deprived. So we've been there, and if we've been there, then we have also experienced the brain fog that sleep deprivation can bring in to the room. So, common complaint, 95% of us are dealing with sleep disturbances, and there are a few things that we can do to assist, but we also have to sit with ourselves for a moment and just accept that, at least for a time, sleep is going to be different. And I don't want to guarantee that sleep is ever going to go back to some luxurious, 9-hour straight sleep session. It may not. The sooner we accept, the easier the whole process is. So I want to talk about that more in a moment. Let's get into some physical things that help many women, most women, with better sleep. At the beginning of this video, I asked, how do you prepare for bedtime? And your best days start the night before. So let's prepare for sleep. First of all, what time is your bedtime? There's an OBGYN who's left the OBGYN practice, Dr. Courtney Hunt. I really appreciate her work. It's very scientifically based. She also gets pretty out there with quantum physics and things of that nature, so that overlaps into the work that I do. And why did I bring up Dr. Courtney Hunt then? See, brain fog. Why did I walk into this room? Why am I talking about this person? All right, you guys get it. Anyhow, I'm sure I'll come back to Dr. Courtney Hunt because she's incredible, and I've learned a lot from her. So what can we do? I was talking about the night before and prepping the night before. So, bedtime. Duh. Courtney Hunt scolds us about bedtime. She says, and she's got a genetics company and does all of this stuff. Her first thing is she cannot help people. She cannot help people unless they're putting themselves to bed. If you're not going to bed before 10 o'clock at night, start there. Like, huge difference. And why is that's because the first part of the bodily processes that go through both detox and repair at nighttime, they start at around about 10 o'clock. So if you're not in bed before then, you skip that first process, and then everything else falters because of it. Keep it real simple. Go to bed. Even if you just lay there for a while, maybe that's an opportunity to meditate, calm your mind, pray. Next, magnesium and glycine. So a lot of people talk about magnesium glycinate. It's great because you get both magnesium and you're getting the amino acid glycine. And the combination of the two both relaxes you and helps you get into deeper sleep. Win-win, right? It's often still not enough magnesium for most people. Unfortunately, our soils have just absolutely been depleted of magnesium. So even the magnesium we get through our diet, it's at a much lower level than it was, say, 50, 60 years ago. The magnesium glycinate at nighttime is great for sleep, but you probably still need to take a look at your magnesium levels and potentially supplement during the course of the day as well. I certainly do. During the course of the day, I utilize magnesium oil spray. I like Ancient Minerals. I spray it on either my stomach or the bottom of my feet. It can have an itching sensation, and that is indicative of being deficient in magnesium. I spray it on my belly now, have no itching. Another signal that your body can give you is the armpits, super onion smell. That to me is I am either low on magnesium or my liver needs more support. So that's a really good then lead into the next item, which is liver support. A lot of women wake up at 3 a.m. and in the traditional Chinese medicine system, 3 a.m. is the liver. That's when the liver is getting its detox and repair processes online. So if we're waking up at around 3 a.m., highly possible that the liver is sluggish, it needs more help, it needs more support, which absolutely makes sense to me. The liver is in overdrive. The liver filters and cleans everything. I mean, it does the most work. And so after, 40, 50 years of taking a beating, stress, processed foods, high sugar diets, any kind of alcohol, regular medications, that's all the liver. That's the liver's job. So it's tired by the time it gets to midlife if it's had a really hefty job consistently to do over the course of your life. Then you add in the estrogen piece, and as estrogen is up and down, being able to process out those already utilized hormones, that also happens through the liver. So again, when that's sluggish and backed up or doesn't have the nutrients it needs to properly clear itself, there's effectively two different pathways for estrogen to be processed out in our liver. One is kind of like the good pathway. It's short, it's sweet, and it processes right out. The other one is more or less like a recycling pathway. And when estrogen is recycled through that pathway, it comes back 10x stronger. And why does that happen? It's because broccoli has a compound called I3C, and when it's digested, it helps the liver break down estrogen into the safer, more easily excreted metabolites. Okay, so more on the liver support side of things. If we've got this liver that's been so busy and overtaxed for a very long time, it needs some support. And so some of the very common herbal support mechanisms for liver, milk thistle, huge, dandelion, burdock root, any kind of your root herbs, things that are very bitter. Those all aid in helping the liver to drain itself. This is also one of the many reasons why alcohol is such an issue for women in perimenopause. The liver's done. It can't do it anymore. The sooner you get away from alcohol, if you are still consuming it, the better off you will be. There's no easy way around that. Some other holistic herbal type supports that you can do for the liver, again, to help decrease all of those 3 a.m. wakings because the liver is getting its support, is castor oil packs. It's very anti-inflammatory. It can absorb and push through the skin with the castor oil packs. I'm not going to go through a whole explanation on that. There's plenty of videos and people that talk about exactly how to set up and apply and utilize a castor oil pack over your liver, but very, very important in my routine for getting the 3 a.m. wakings down. Is it 100%? No. But significantly better, and I've practiced the acceptance piece. And so that's the next lead into acceptance and not creating a stress or anxiety loop over the fact that you are waking up at night. The sooner you make peace with that, the sooner the sleep will start to rectify itself. The stress and anxiety loops over not sleeping can sometimes be the most damaging to our sleep quality. We've all experienced it. We've all done it, where you lay awake in bed, stressed out and freaked out that, oh my God, I'm not sleeping. I've got A, B, C, D, E to do tomorrow. The mind starts going off on squirrely little tangents. It's not fun. Acceptance, practice acceptance. Insomnia in general, from a psychosomatic leading more into like emotional, energetic arenas, not trusting the process and flow of life, right? I mean, everybody's got to sleep. We know that our bodies do not work without sleep. We're not even highly functional if we are nocturnal and work, night jobs. Our body requires sleep. It simply does. And so whenever we are having troubles in that area, we do need to dig in and ask ourselves, where are the areas in my life where I'm not trusting the flow and process of life? Sleep is going to be one of them. But I can almost guarantee you there are other areas in your life that you're also not trusting the flow and the process of life, and it's just adding more pressure to the sleep situation. Also, guilt is associated with insomnia. In the energy work and emotion code work that I do, identifying and releasing guilt associated with traumatic, either big T or little t trauma situations over the course of our life has a really big impact on people's guilt load. And when we impact the guilt load, i.e. lessening it, so that's a really, really fun thing to witness it release and for the sleep to improve. Movement. We have to get our movement in during the day. A lot of women complain about the internal shakiness and this internal anxiety that, seemingly came out of nowhere. If you're not getting the movement in during the day, energy is just building up in your body and it's got nowhere to move. It's got nowhere to go. So if you get to the end of the night and you haven't walked, you haven't shaked, you haven't stretched, you haven't moved your body, all of that built up energy, that also adds to keeping you awake at night. Side note, with internal shakiness and the anxiety, one of the best tools that I utilize in a pinch, in addition to checking in on my energy and doing any kind of a real quick clearing in that moment, from a physical standpoint, I can also drop into a plank until my body starts to shake, and I'll hold it comfortably. I'm not an Olympic planker or anything like that, And I do it a couple times. Again, just challenging the body, and that shakiness, that's moving energy in a very significant way. It's also impacting and strengthening capacity in your nervous system. Okay, planks, those are a friend. Some people have really good success with having a snack before bed, normalizing blood sugar in the middle of the night. That's another thing that can impact the liver, giving it a little bit of glycogen to work with in the middle of the night. I know that this goes against other modalities or other techniques where it's like, no digesting in bed. That's while we're sleeping, body should be taking out the trash. And generally, I agree. But we're not in perimenopause and moving into menopause. We're working through some other things right now. So we need to prioritize what we need to prioritize, and prioritizing sleep and figuring out your magic mix is key. So it's worth a shot and seeing if that helps or doesn't help, along with some of these other things. And then last thing I want to talk about is light. I'll also give a nod again to Dr. Courtney Hunt. She talks about how the free red light therapy comes from the sun at sunrise and sunset. Once the sun sets, you can see right here, I'm wearing some glasses that have a bit of a yellow tint. They also have the blue light blockers. So I know that that's probably a little bit distracting in this video, but I'm wearing them for a good reason. And the good reason is, again, being aware of and managing our light consumption. Okay, let me go back. So sunrise and sunset, that's where you should be getting into your naked eyes that red light, getting that red light therapy. It does so much for our overall health and overall hormonal profiles. It's also recommended to get a little bit during the noon, midday hours. And the reason for that is for healthy vitamin D production, among other things. Did you know that when you get morning sunlight into your eyes in the morning, one, it shuts off melatonin production and turns on digestive hormone production? So imagine what happens in the morning when you consume your coffee, breakfast, whatever, and have done this for, potentially most of your lifetime without having gone out and gotten the sunlight to flip that switch. Talk about insulin resistance. Okay, so that's something to consider. Let's switch back to nighttime. After the sun goes down, in a natural cycle, we would be working by candlelight. Guess what candlelight also provides? Red light spectrums. Okay. All of that in the evening, the light's coming down, that signals, and it takes about 2 hours of low lights for the melatonin production process to ramp up. I am not recommending melatonin supplementation. In fact, I don't do it. The only time I utilize melatonin, it is in such a small amount, and for no more, really you shouldn't do it for more than 2 weeks, but I don't do it for more than a number of days, just to reset the circadian rhythm. But melatonin is not meant to be taken long term. It's meant for your body to produce this. But if you're not playing the light game at nighttime and giving your body an opportunity to naturally produce the melatonin to put you to sleep and keep you asleep, you're not doing yourself any favors in the sleep department. Key. It is key. All right, well, thank you for being here. I hope that this information helps. You can find me on sparkenergywellness.com. If you want individualized help, book a session with me. We can do energy work. And I also am a menopause coach as well as an NLP practitioner. So there's a lot of work that we can do together to help renegotiate belief systems, mindset, lifestyle, energy, emotional wellness. So, okay. Thanks for being here.